Okay, awesome. I think we're live. Just want to
Perfect.
introduce here Jazear Brooks. He's the founder and lead developer of Sifchain. Do you want to just start by telling us a little bit about your background, Jazeer?
Yeah, I studied computer science and economics in college, spent some time at some corporates and did some freelancing, then ended up in crypto, did a bunch of work early on at Thorchain and at Cosmos and a couple other blockchain projects. Um, and I ended up getting really deep into cross-chain as the work with Cosmos and Thorchain were both for cross-chain and just kind of ended up saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could do cross-chain mixed with DEXs? And so I ended up around last year, getting together the team for Sifchain.
Awesome. So you kind of mentioned there a little bit of your initial motivation. What else kind of inspired you to grow Sifchain into an actual product?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the idea was, spending a lot of time at Thorchain. There's this idea of a one-way peg, right? You can transfer assets from one chain to another. But I was like, or swap, say, ETH on Ethereum for, I'll call it, Sol on Solana once they add Solana, or Doge on Dogecoin once they add that. But you can't like move your Doge onto Ethereum, right? You can't move um, your ETH onto Cosmos or whatever. And so I like the two-way peg model. So I figured it would make sense to allow for that what we call traversability. And I saw that missing in the market. It kind of still is outside of Sifchain.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, it's a unique perspective to build something from there. Cool. Next question. Why did you choose to build on Tendermint and why Cosmos?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something I kind of inherited from Thorchain. I know we were considering other things like Cadena, but and a few other actual projects, different multi-chain projects. But um, I would say that Cosmos just kind of became the standard, right? Tendermint really became the thing that people built. Like a lot of chains were built on Tendermint even before Cosmos SDK was a thing. And so I don't know, I just got the sense that it was the most fully baked, like a proof of stake consensus model. And so it would just make sense to do that. I've seen the community develop nicely. It's worked out a little better, I'd say, than I expected, but I'm very happy that, to have gone by Tendermint. I think a lot of projects choose it because it's stable and there's also a lot of great support.
Hmm. So when you guys started the project, was the Cosmos SDK a thing?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so did you end up building with it?
Yeah, Sifchain is built on Cosmos.
Perfect. Um, how do you think Sifchain's integration into the Cosmos with IBC will impact the overall ecosystem?
I mean, there's Sifchain is right now one of the top, I think maybe number 3 or 4, something like that, in terms of transfers overall for IBC. So it's pretty obvious a lot of people want to move IBC assets onto Sifchain. I
Hmm.
would further say that there's a lot of demand for Ethereum tokens outside of Sifchain. And so, as soon as the IBC update gets made, we'll be able to move tokens from Sifchain that are coming from the Ethereum ecosystem onto other Cosmos chains like Osmosis or Gravity on Cosmos Hub. So I'd say number one, people moving IBC tokens through IBC onto Sifchain, which is kind of happening now, and then number two would be moving Ethereum tokens throughout IBC as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Um, honestly, I was kind of hoping to schedule this, a little bit after the integration onto Osmosis or the Gravity DEX. There seem to be some kind of complications. When do you think we can expect to see the row on the Gravity DEX or Osmosis?
Yeah, so from our end, we there's basically no way to move Ethereum tokens over Cosmos easily, over IBC easily, because they work with a different decimal set than the standard. Like Ethereum tokens work with a different standard decimal notation than Cosmos tokens. We ended up creating a workaround. However, it seems like it's so close to like a proper fix from IBC that we want to just wait. And so I direct your questions more to them. My guess, based on their pacing, is they've got maybe 2 to 4 weeks before we can see that go live.
Cool. Well, that's pretty exciting. For everyone watching, if you guys have questions, feel free to use the Q&A function to post those, and we'll hit them up as soon as as soon as we got a little bit there. All right, let's move on. I had a user question actually. What differentiates Sifchain's version of Peggy from other versions?
Well, I mean, the history is sort of that the team that built Peggy originally with like for the ICF then went to work on Sifchain itself. So we kind of have this canonical version. There are a few other teams that have like played with different versions of it or forked it or added new items, which we definitely support. Although again, I think we're still the only ones actually live that are connected to Ethereum and the Cosmos network. So that's one major differentiator. And we obviously know the code pretty well from pioneering it. But another one that might be relevant going down the line is at this point we're working on Peggy 2 for OmniEVM capability. So you won't be able to just connect to Cosmos, but sorry, from Cosmos to Ethereum, but also Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and wherever else. And I know a lot of other, let's say Ethereum bridges in the Cosmos network are maybe thinking about that after they launch Ethereum, maybe trying to figure out how to get one or two more chains, but we've really architected this so we could connect to like as many chains as possible. In one fell swoop. So I would say the architectural commitment that we have to cross-chain is, it's pretty strong even in comparison to some people who have like got other bridges, as is evidenced by, how far along, Peggy has come.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably one of the Sifchain's biggest strengths too, is just their OmniEVM capabilities. My next question is what else differentiates the Sifchain exchange from other DEXs, decentralized exchanges?
Yeah, so I'd say just being on Cosmos SDK is a huge boost. That makes us way faster than a lot of other projects, even a lot of like souped up EVM projects, or even a lot of Ethereum layer 2s. So I'm really happy about that. I would say there's also costs. So there's that, which I think is there's cost and the speed. But then aside from that, within Cosmos, I would say there's swapping, right? Like we have a slip based fee for swapping and I think that's pretty important. It makes it so that smaller trades are actually cheaper than they would be elsewhere with a flat fee. Larger trades are actually more expensive. And so that is something that is actually like beneficial for poolers. And so in the long run, you end up with a you end up like no you, you end up with like basically more revenue for poolers, and you end up with more revenue for swappers as well. So yeah, it ends up being better from like over across entire market cycle. So that I think is another really great differentiator. I'd say obviously the token selection, right? We're the only ones with like a bunch of Cosmos tokens and a bunch of Ethereum tokens. So you can always get that. And then there are things coming out, margin trading being obviously like a massive one that a lot of people are excited for. We'll be releasing a bit more info on that relatively soon. It's going to let you actually margin trade for any token. And so we're looking to provide interest revenue in addition to swap revenue for poolers. It should be like extremely lucrative.
Awesome. Could you talk a little bit more about the OMNI EVM Bridge? What kind of chains can we expect to see on Sifchain beyond Ethereum and ERC20 tokens?
Yeah, so the idea is Omni, right? Not just many EVMs, but actually as many as possible. So if you look at the list, I don't know if I can share my screen on this. Let me see here.
I think so.
Really? All right, then I can try to do a screen share to an article that we wrote on the subject. But basically, the gist that we see is there are a lot of really great new EVM chains that have popped up. So at the time of here we go. Yeah, at the time that we started, that we announced we were going for OmniEVM, here are the chains that we have that are connected to that are EVM compatible. There's like Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum Classic, which no one seems to touch for whatever reason. A lot of these that you may be familiar with, they reorder as time goes on. But we wanted to draw attention to a couple of things. One is that there's actually a really nice long tail here. There are projects like, say, Wan Chain or Tomo Chain, which people may have been somewhat familiar with, that are still really exciting, and I'm sure that they would love to have awesome collaboration opportunities with us. Smaller cap, but still very important. And so we want to be able to connect to those. The economic incentives may not be there unless you're really capable of appreciating like a variety of chains and connecting to them. And we have that capacity. The cost to add arbitrary new tokens or arbitrary new chains is not as high as it might be with other projects. The other thing I would say, aside from noticing this long tail, is that there are a lot of differences between this chart and now and when it's actually shared. So there are new projects like KuCoin, for example, has an EVM chain that's actually pretty highly ranked. Heko, Huobi's chain, is actually much larger. A lot of these other projects like Polygon and Avalanche also much larger. We will likely connect to Ethermint and Evos through IBC, but it's technically possible to also connect with chains like that, like say Phantom, right? Which is connected to Cosmos. We can connect with through an EVM connection, and so we've seen a lot of new chains come out, or seeing a lot of growth in EVM chains. I would say the thing about the EVM chains is, like, once you deploy some smart contract on one of them, you could, if you want to, deploy the same smart contract on like many other chains that are also EVM compatible. And so there's such a vibrant token ecosystem. So our expectation is that, like I said, we would connect to all of them. I guess the third thing I haven't pointed out here is all means layer twos as well. So like Arbitrium or Optimism, like we want to connect to those as well. Metis is obviously like a great partner. We've done an AMA with them. And the thing to keep in mind is that it actually, there's this awkward part about layer twos where in order to connect with them, you end up needing to you're basically like forced to wait if you want to withdraw some liquidity. Like you're from the layer two back to Ethereum, right? They're called rollups, for a reason. It takes a while to actually have the rollup occur. So while you're waiting, that wait could be anywhere from a couple of hours to several days. And that's not really a great experience. But if we want to verify on Peggy 2, you could actually do those transfers like instantly. And so you could end up in a situation where your Optimism tokens are actually easier to export from Optimism to Sifchain than they are from Optimism to Ethereum. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at the mainstays for EVMs. We're looking at the long tail. We're looking at new EVM chains that haven't come out that will be really major. And then we're also looking at layer twos. Like that's the hope there.
Wow, it's gonna be huge.
Hopefully. Got to keep our heads down and keep building, right?
Yeah, that's the strat. Cool. Let's move forward a little bit. Did you want to talk a little bit about the Sifchain trading competition? I just saw a couple announcements about that a couple hours ago.
Yeah. I would say we are working pretty well on that. There's I think something like a ridiculous number, like $40 million of their trading activity going through one of our pools right now. So really happy to see like deep engagement from that. There's a few other pools getting deep. I think Akash actually also just has its own trading incentivized pool, and so we're seeing trading volume pick up on that pair as well. Atom was the pool with like 40 plus million in trading volume. I'm pretty happy to see that. I think, again, as I mentioned, because a lot of the swap activity on Sifchain has low fees, like extremely low fees, that this can be cost effective for traders without necessarily breaking the bank in terms of swap fees. but it still is actually driving, because the volume is so high, like a lot of revenue to poolers, as well as obviously stress testing the system, and like providing additional liquidity for these assets, not just in terms of depth, but obviously daily trading activity. So yeah, we're really excited for that. We had a really awesome live stream earlier today that I was extremely happy to participate in. And we had a few other people kind of talk about Sifchain. So we're excited to just see how this evolves. And what's interesting for this is like we just had our first token launch inside of a trading competition. So Sifchain now has Lua and UST, two tokens from the Terra ecosystem. And so it'll be interesting to see if trading competition activity makes those token listings different from the way they would be in other other times.
Right. It's almost it's similar to like a bootstrapping kind of event, but it's a trading competition and it's multiple chains. It's not just one. I did see that Luna was just listed. Was that just today?
Literally, it happened as we joined this call. So this was an exclusive for this interview.
Wow, that's amazing. What kind of pool rewards can people expect? You said there was like the incentives going on.
I mean, right now they're like 16,000 and 3,000%. But obviously those are going to go down as the pool gets deeper. Usually those pools tend to max out around maybe a couple 100%, I would say. So you just get in and then kind of fit in. Right now there's less than $100,000 in each of those pools. I imagine that'll change. They've been live for maybe 30 minutes or so. So not a whole lot of time to get built, but as they do get built up, we'll see APYs fall, but I'd say still something like a couple 100%. It seems reasonable, especially for projects that are as popular.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity for right now. Cool. I had a question on Reddit. How does Sifchain plan to bring more traders onto the platform, and how are they planning it on the basis of month-over-month growth?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So a few things to consider here. One is that the project is it's designed like primarily as a trading engine, right? And so we always think like, what is it that traders would want? What is it? And then in another way, it's like a way for poolers to get additional revenue. But our expectation is that if people trade, then that additional trading volume is going to stimulate additional like pooling into the pools. So it's a bit of both. And I think that we are like we're getting some additional activity with, again, this trading competition. A lot of new users came in to participate. So that is something we want to explore more of. There's I would say that making sure that this is aligned, like, let's say long-term sustainable is another thing we're thinking about. That the next trading sort of incentivized program will not look like this. There's another thing that we have that I think will encourage deeper trades, like larger trades, but still, be primarily steered towards the trading community. So we think this is a great sort of experiment, but we're looking to see what else we can provide that traders really find appealing. Then I would say there's getting new pools, right? We constantly have new pools that are being developed, and the more of those we can set up, the better. It's just important for the community to get behind whatever pools they want to see. So at some point there's maybe, I want to say, I don't know how many, but I'd say that a couple new tokens have been added every week. And we want to keep seeing those. The community is very vocal about what they want. So we kind of just, say, hey, if the community is excited about it, and they get it onto the platform, then after that, we'll see a new user base and so forth. We have tracked actually stats like month over month changes in a dashboard, which we're excited to share. That's it's pretty granular, actually. I think as a teaser, because I know that people love to see. Let me see if I can find it in analytics folder here. Yeah, let me see here. So I'm going to share, the kind of metrics that we actually look at, and this stuff will be coming to a dashboard that everyone will be able to see in the relatively near-ish future. So if I do a presentation like that, okay, here we go. So this shows actually Sifchain's pool, TVL by pool over time. If you can see my screen there. And so you can literally see, like, we're actually analyzing it on like a per day basis, but also per token. And we can see, okay, like this particular pool is really strong. We want to continue efforts there. This pool might not be as deep. We want to, try to do something, maybe encourage the community or whatever, or another community to like, be more supportive. And then over time, you can actually see changes. And this is just sort of one kind of graph that you would see in the analytics dashboard that we create. So yeah, our expectation. Let me see if I can find other graphs. But yeah, the idea is like the more of these kinds of things we provide, the more we can like be systematic. So yeah, there's a lot we want to do to encourage like active user engagement.
Yeah, tools for the tool. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I can definitely see how people would get a lot of benefit out of that, actually, like the trading volume, and then it's stacked amongst all the coins that are being used in the DEX.
Yeah, I actually would show this one other image that I pulled up here. You can actually see in this other graph that we created, TVL by pool balance share, but also additions and removals. So we can even see literally on a pool basis, like, hey, this pool is really big, people are adding to it, versus this pool is not as big, people are removing from it. We're going to get relatively granular. I mean, we'll share the dashboard separately. This whole call doesn't need to be about it, but it's going to be something where we expect like the data scientists in the community and our team as well, obviously, to be really, really thoughtful.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be well received. Cool. I had a couple more questions, and just a quick reminder for anyone watching this, like if you want to post anything in the chat, feel free to. We'll cover them here at the end. These were sent to me on the Telegram chat, actually. What are the plans for audits for Sifchain, and will Certic be doing an audit of Sifchain?
We have quite a few audits already, including from Certic. Basically, we regularly get audited. And so every time there's a major code change, we run it through Certic or Halborn or Oak. We're always looking for new audit partners because we just want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible. And we do have an audit folder, which I can share actually. That should be helpful because we want people to feel safe. I don't know the best way to share that with you. Is there? I think I see a chat feed on the side. Should I paste it there?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, people can definitely check out audits, and as time goes on, we always get more.
Perfect. I had a user ask, can Sifchain suffer a similar attack to Thorchain? If not, why not? And if so, how would users be protected?
Yeah, we had a big tweet storm about this, where essentially we we obviously think Thorchain's really amazing. They pretty much bounced back up from having a serious hack that occurred, like multiple hacks actually. That hack was specific to the way that Thorchain's like if the ETH bridge and router was designed. It isn't really something that Sifchain could hit. It has like completely different architecture there. There is a lot of inspiration that the Sifchain guys took from Thorchain. A lot of overlap in terms of team and insights and the like. But there was because Thorchain uses this like two-way, this one-way peg, and Sifchain has a two-way peg with very different bridge code. It just really wasn't an option. We're always trying to be as secure as possible with audits, but the Thorchain hack really just like wasn't super relevant.
Cool, that's great to hear. Actually, I'm sure people would be happy to hear that too. There was some conversation about a Sif DAO. And so the user wanted to know, what role will Sif DAO play in the Sifchain project?
Yeah, I think Sif DAO is extremely important. Essentially, what we were looking for is people to spend as much time like steering the project, right? It's a community-owned project, and so we just need the community to push on like major initiatives. And so a lot of the activity is happening in Discord right now, and then outside of Discord and Telegram. People are also voting on proposals, right? Like on-chain proposals. Over time, we hope to expand this activity, get the right things funded, or at least have the community fund these items. We're actually looking for votes on like a long-term rewards structure where we've had these shorter-term programs for a couple of weeks providing different rewards, but we're going to have a community vote soon on a much more impactful rewards program. So yeah, we are really excited to see that. There's a lot of other stuff that can happen as well. I mean, we're actively looking at, on the engineering side, how we can work with a bunch of partners in a way that standardizes engineering effectively. We're looking at how to like share product roadmap stuff. There's a lot of conversation happening in the DAO. We're looking at new DAO platforms. A really major popular one in the Cosmos ecosystem is actually working with us to launch a discussion platform. We're looking at voting tools, not just like the on-chain voting that comes native with Cosmos, but some other stuff like Snapshot. So you can do voting without necessarily delegating or being a validator. So yeah, we see Sif DAO as like extremely important. They'll be able to vote on everything. Eventually, all like responsibilities for the protocol will be managed by the DAO, and so we're actively pushing on that regard.
Awesome. Perfect. That kind of wraps up my questions. I guess we can finish it with what are the next milestones for Sifchain? What's the future look like?
In the near term, we'll have this vote and see how we want to deal with longer term liquidity mining rewards. There's also a bunch of new chains, new tokens coming all the time. Luna and UST just came, but another really awesome one is coming very soon that I don't think a lot of people will expect. There's, or actually, I would say it's a really great token. We'll probably pre-announce it just to make sure people have some heads up. But aside from that, there's what else? That's basically a fair number of things near term, obviously bug fixes and polishing and so on. Then longer term, expect Peggy 2.0 over the next several weeks. We're more or less feature complete and just doing a bunch of consolidation of the code. And deep margin is the other one that I'd say within the next like couple of months, we're going to get that out either late Q2, Q4, or early Q1. We'll end up with deep margin. I think that'll be another game changer for people. So that's what's on the horizon.
Awesome. Sweet. Sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me, Jazear.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Did you have any closing remarks, or I think you pretty much capped it up there?
No, I mean, I think this has all been excellent. Happy to participate.
Awesome. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Take care.